Alright, so this is Speed Demon, and I'm starting the Cities in Motion 2 walkthrough. Now, some of you might be thinking, hey, this game is almost like 2 years old, close to 3 years old. And yes, you're absolutely right, this game is rather old. However, I've found that there are no Let's Plays on Cities in Motion 2, and I've found it to be extremely fun to play. Now, obviously, when you hear the word cities, you think city building game, and you are not mistaken. It is a city building game. However, it doesn't really derive itself from building cities per se. Obviously, you see that I've already started, so I will pick Big City Lights, and we'll start there. So let's talk about the game a little bit while it's loading. The game in and of itself is a city building game. However, it doesn't involve actually building the city. You actually get different scenarios where the city is already built. What your objectives are is to build a transportation network in the city. Now, obviously, in most situations, that wouldn't necessarily be the highlight of a game, so most people will put it down. But what makes this game rather interesting is the fact that as you build the transportation network, the city grows based on how it's built. So, if you build, let's say, buses in a rural area of your city could grow, in the fashion of the bus system. So here we go. We're in the Big Lights city, and as you can see, there's portions of the city which are kind of the forefront of where our residential areas are, our commercial areas over here, and we have kind of the suburbs and industrial areas around the outskirts of the city. One would believe, or one would, well, in this game, economics is very important. If I go to the briefcase economy panel, once we start building our city out, and we'll start very shortly, you'll start to see ticket prices and maintenance costs kind of sort of find their way into this area. Even more so, what's built into Cities in Motion 2 is the penalty fares. You will have people who try to jump onto your transit systems that don't want to pay their fares. So, push come to shove, you'll employ fare catcher or fare dodgers, fare dodger catchers, Jesus, that will ensure that your transit system doesn't run in the red because you can't get any of your fares. Normally, when you employ these types of individuals, you'll find that when you check your graphs, if I go to my data panel and I check my actually it won't show because I don't have any tickets, but there's a graph that shows your Dodgers, and you can see what that demographic is. Normally it's your students. So for the most part, I'll show you the menial commands. So holding down Z and moving your mouse kind of gives you a 360 view of the map. This is standard in most RTSs / city building games. What's not standard in city building games is the use of WASD. As such, if I use W up, A left, S down, D to the right. So my orientation is a little off. I don't like this orientation too much. I actually have found that this orientation suits me best. And the reason why, if I go, kind of a little ways away, you'll find this map, this island right here would seem optimal to start at. But truth be told, it really isn't. And the reason why is because the residential areas on this map aren't necessarily as well grown as this area. Now, one would say, well, this doesn't really have, if we look at it from a horizontal perspective, this really doesn't have a whole lot of promise, but it actually does, because there's a mixture of residential / commercial areas on here to a specific blend that makes it advantageous to place a railway network or anything of that nature here. Now, as with any city, you'll find that the suburbs aren't necessarily areas where, looking at this suburb in particular, over here, let me zoom in, this suburb in particular, you'll find that this suburb is more, has a greater affinity to driving. And the reason why is because of their proximity to where they may work. You'll find that a lot of the individuals who live in this area will work in here. A lot of the individuals who live in this area will work here, and so on and so forth with the other suburban areas. This is extremely suburban, and majority of the time, if you find a suburban area like this, it's in your best interest to just leave it be. They won't really generate a whole lot of income. They may generate bus income because buses don't require a whole lot of money to run, but at the same time, buses don't generate a whole lot of income unless you've built a very well-defined bus system. Normally, if I build a bus system that connects, if I build a bus system in the suburbs, it will connect suburbs. So I might put a bus here, build a trolley network in here that connects to a bus station here, and then I'll build a bus station maybe somewhere in here that connects to a tram network, or this seems urban enough for a subway. So let's start where I normally start. I found that this island here is better equipped for a fast build. And the reason why I say that isn't necessarily because this island has a lot of residential and commercial blend, more or less because the street network is built better. If you're going to build a transportation network, you want to build a transportation network where the street networks are more square than anything else. Now you look at this one and you say, well, this one's very square. And yes, you are absolutely right. This island would be optimal to build on. However, it's not, the blends aren't very well. You got residential all the way over here and the commercial all the way over here. To go in a diagonal fashion isn't advantageous. Some may do that, but it doesn't bode well for when you put your stations down. So let's get to it.
Alright, so let's start. Now, I know I said that I wanted to build over here, but in talking to you guys, I've actually changed my mind. I actually want to start over here. Reason being is twofold. A, straight lines, and B, I've actually never done it before. It would seem rather difficult to do. But thirdly, if I was going to add a third reason to this, is that this one's actually rather easy due to the fact that you have a concentration of different types and areas. Yellow, more yellow in the middle, green on the outskirts, and then a nice little purple tinge towards the lower left of this island. This island over here, though, is more blended, which is why it would be more difficult to, or less advantageous to build on this island, because people are closer proximity to walk to work rather than catch the transit. I also found the fare dodger graph. However, obviously there's nothing there because we don't have any dodgers of the fare. Okay, so what you essentially want to do is start by building your subways first. And the reason being that you have an exorbitant amount of money to begin. These are the quests on the side. Let's click that. This is our initial quest, 50% coverage. Another quest, purchase 2 metro trains, which is what we're going to do. So the first thing you want to do is kind of sort of cut this island into 2 halves, vertically and horizontally. And you want 4 quadrants, kind of open to your bus and tram lines, which will feed your subway. Now people are more inclined to catch your subway. The reason being that the subway is the faster of the 5 modes of transportation. So let's lay down our track. Obviously you can see I'm going to lay it here because there's nothing here. So let's go to our underground view, click tools, and get to our structures. So there's 5 structures, as I said before: bus, trolley, tram, metro, water bus. We're going to build the metro. And the reason why is obvious. Now you can build your metro overground using the large or basic depots, or you can build them underground using your large or basic depots. You also have your stations. We'll talk about those when we get to it, and your waypoints. I'll also talk about that when we talk about the stations. So let me fix my orientation just a tad. Just a tad. Oh, God, stop it. Alright, now let's do it. So obviously you can see I can't really orient this the way I want to by just sticking it in there. Normally you would want to use the right click to orient your buildings. If I click right click, it gives me a 360 idea of what I want my building to be. So if I come over here and I click if I go on this, if I push it towards this road here, it will orient itself correctly, but it won't stay that way, obviously. So I push it towards the road, right click, and it stays. Or actually, it should frickin' stay. Sorry, hold on. Mother... Okay, hold on. Stupid ass fucking shit. Alright, there we go. You gotta finagle it sometimes, but then it works. Cool. Here we go. Now, let's lay down the track. So, you have different types of roads and tracks you can lay down, and basically you would lay down more road only when you wanted to grow your city just a tad bit more. Right now what we're going to do is we're just going to lay down track, and we're going to lay it underground, hence the reason why we're in the underground view. Now, when you first start, you probably have an affinity to actually building your track off the double rail here. Don't do that. If you do, it won't really build correctly, even if it's underground or overground, because it's not building at the right spot. What you want to do is you want to start on the tip. Yes, I said it, the tip. Okay, so tip, and as you can see, if I go far enough, the slope will enable me to build the road over ground here. Now this is highly disadvantageous because obviously I have building structures here, and I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the depth of this railway. So I can either go all the way up like such to 60 meters or all the way down like this to 60 meters using the page up and the page down. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it at the normal height. When you first build your underground depot, the normal height is 8 meters, and that's what we're going to leave it at. Okay, so now I'm going to build a rail down this line parallel to this 6-lane highway. Now if you've been too sharp, you see how the rail breaks right here? Look right there. It breaks and then it builds, breaks, builds, breaks, builds. You want to make sure that you don't build it broken. If you build it too sharp, it'll break and then you can't make your line. So let's build the rail. Boom. And then notice I clicked it once and I'm still building the rail. I actually didn't buy the rail yet. I just built it. And if I click it twice at the place that I built it at, it will actually buy it. But I don't want to do that. So let's just keep going. And we'll build the entire thing once we get to the end. Here we go. Clicking it throughout helps you orient it, but also if you just so happen to mess up on one portion of it, you can always right click it back one. You know, if I right click, well actually I think if I right click I'll destroy the whole line. Nope. I right click once and it gets me back to, it destroyed the line that was behind it. Behind where my cursor was. So keep going, and now I'm at the end of the island, so what I will do is I will buy the line. Now you can see that was extremely expensive. $54,000 to begin. Yeah, that's not, you know, the greatest. But even if I try to put a line here and run my trains, oh Jesus, stop stuttering. Run my trains, it wouldn't run. It would go to the end and it would not have a way to come back. The line wouldn't complete itself. So what I essentially want to do is I want to build a loop here. And what the loop will do is get my trains back to where they're supposed to be, home. Okay, so that's fairly straight. Now let's go the next part and actually lay down my stations. So I always build the most expensive station. I'm sorry, the most expensive stop. So right now you have Metro Stop with ticket machine, timetable, and better lighting. You also have ticket machine and lighting, and you have Metro Stop. I just build this one, so my ridership does not have an excuse to not get on my transit. Okay, so I normally build them side by side like this. It's just a habit. You don't have to do this, but I do it. And I overlap my circles of my area of operation, my AO, here. Now this is the implied area that this is reaching, so that the individuals in this area would be more inclined to get on this stop. That doesn't always bode as a gospel truth. You could run into a situation where riders just omit the line completely because they feel like they're too far from it, so on and so forth. So let's just finish this line real fast, bearing in mind to try to overlap my areas of operation, my AO, and then towards the end here, I don't necessarily need to put 2 because I have this loop here coming back, so I'll put it at the end. 1. All right, so the line is pretty much ready to be made. I know you're probably thinking, well, wait a minute, we just made the line. No, we didn't make the line. What we just made was the rail and the stops. What I'm going to do now is go into our transport panel here and select create new under the metro station or the metro icon. What this will do is give me a line, Metro Line 1. And there's many features to this Metro line. Object info gives you all the information you need based on the line. Income expenses, how many vehicles you would need maximum, how many average vehicles are needed, blah blah blah. List of stops, list of vehicles, and it gives you the ability to modify the line. So I can add stops, edit the timetable, we'll go into that in a second, delete the line, edit the name of the line, and center the camera on an object in the line. So let's go ahead and start making the line. Now you can't make the line unless you first start at the depot. So, I'm sorry, click on that and then click depot. You see how it's going to assign it if you look at the Metro line as I scroll off and on it. So it says not assigned to line. I click it, now it is assigned to the line, and it's telling me how many vehicles are available. None. I don't buy vehicles first. The reason why I don't buy vehicles first is because it's, I like to do you have to do your timetables, and I don't do my timetables before I build my line. So let's go ahead and do this one. Oh, and you see how crazy this street's getting already? That might not look too bad, but that's actually not good. I want to make sure that traffic kind of simmers down a bit. So let's go ahead and finish up here, building the line. And to finish, build it at the metro stop. And there it is. My line is complete. The only thing it needs now is to, if you're going to make a better timetable, which I always do that, and then you want to buy your trains. So let's fix the timetable. Now for my metro, I always do 30 minutes weekday. The reason why is because there's no traffic on the metro. So every 30 minutes a metro is on the way. That's awesome. 45 minutes on the weekends because people got to go party, of course. And then at night, 45 minutes. Always bearing in mind to keep a little 2-hour window available so that my trains can kind of take a rest, because your trains will need to be maintained. Okay, so based on the length of the line and the amount of stops, it's going to take 3 hours and 30 minutes for one train to go the length of this line. Sorry. And you can see I'm already incurring expenses. It's telling me the length of the line, and it tells me how many max vehicles I will need. Normally I buy one vehicle over the max. The reason why I buy one vehicle over the max is because it makes more sense to have 8 vehicles, and just in case one vehicle it breaks down or whatever, I don't have to worry about replacing a vehicle. I already have 8. Now if I went and built vehicles right now, I wouldn't have enough money to actually build all the vehicles I need. So let's go to the economy panel, and let's take out a loan. Now I'm going to take out a $50,000 loan, and obviously I'm going to have to pay it back because you can't just take out loans and not pay them back. And I'm going to make it to where my repayment time is 20 weeks. Now some people may be saying, wow, that's not a lot of repayment time. Yes, you're right, it isn't. And the reason why is because I don't want to continue to have to repay this over a long period of time. I don't want it to cut into my revenues. And since my startup costs will be incurred with the payment time, with the actual loan that I'm taking out, my break-even point will be where about 20 weeks, I should break even before 20 weeks. So this is not a big deal. Take out the loan, and let's go ahead and build the largest one. I don't care about the acceleration. What I care about are the amount of seats. I build the largest one, and I'm going to build 9 of them. $40,000. So I took out a loan for 50. I have 76. That means I'll have 36 left. And thank you for the purchase. I just made money. Totally forgot about that quest. Alright, and I got $4,500 cash, which is nice because I can totally use 4,500. So let's speed this up to the fastest thing possible because that's where we're going to make our money. And let's take a look at the Metro Rail or the Metro line to see how it's doing. Obviously you can see that our line is not really breaking even. However, it is a promising thought to know that people were eager enough to want to get on it. This is a good sign. This means that we're building in the right place. There are times where you can build your metro line in the wrong place, and it would totally not be to your advantage. Oh, look, we've already, our cash flow is already over our expense ratios, which is nice. But with that being said, if I check my graphs, if I go back to my data panel and check my graphs of fare dodging, we can see that we're going to have a interesting time with fare dodging for a multiplicity of reasons. Um, Obviously, my greatest fare dodger is not here yet, which normally are your students. Um, right now, it looks like everyone is abiding by the law. Now, let's say I went ahead and just for shiggles decided, well, first let's look at the loan, Jesus, get out of the way. Let's look at this. Our loan repayments are here, which are showing us how much our loans are per week. And we also have our ticket prices, how much revenue is coming in. Oh, hello. Okay, yep, accept. Accept. Alright, so now let's come back here and let's look at this one, employees. You also have loans and ticket prices, and we'll go over ticket prices in a second. But right now, we're looking at this. So we can look at the happiness of each of our employees, and this actually has is a big deal, um, based on how well our employees are happy. It also turns into an efficiency rating. For the most part, we want to hire at least enough fare dodgers to catch 30% of our dodgers. That's about the sweet spot. And you can see where our inspector income, which is our penalty fares, is about double the inspector, um, what it costs to have the inspectors, their salaries or their hourly wage. You want to keep it at 30%. Once you do the 50%, you kind of get an even penalty fares to inspector ratio, and that's not really advantageous for bottom line because you're not making or losing money, so it's irrelevant to have them um, if you have it at 50%. 30% is the nice medium. Okay, so let's look at our actual city. It's looking nice. Yes, beautiful city. Okay, so now let's start to feed our subway. Now, I know that some individuals watching this video are probably thinking, well, why wouldn't the subway feed itself? Each one of these stations has a very large area of operation. And you're right, it does. The problem is, this area of operation, or this area of influence, AOI, does not necessarily mean that we're going to get ridership. All it means that all it means is that the people in this area are more inclined to ride our transit than those who are not. So let's go ahead and build corresponding transit systems to connect to our rail. And the first transit system I want to build is my tram. Now, there's actually a reason I want to build the tram. The reason why I want to build the tram is because the tram, in and of itself, is the second highest grossing transit system than the subway. Because it doesn't ride on the road per se. For instance, if you build a bus line, let me get rid of that real quick. If I build a bus line, I couldn't do this. I couldn't build my bus line on this pedestrian walkway. But because I have a tram, I can build on the pedestrian walkway, which is highly advantageous because that means that I can go certain places that the bus cannot and possibly will not go. So let's go ahead and start building our tram. First we build the depot. I always build the biggest one. And then let's build our roads. So obviously, building a tram, you have to build a tram track. Now, you have to build the tram track coming out of the tram first. Just because you build the tram depot doesn't mean that you have tram tracks. Alright? Don't imply anything in this game. So let's build the tram track. And then you see, if you still have it on double, you can build double trams based on where you want them to go. But in this situation, we're not going to build trams as we build subways. Trams will be one way, whereas our subways will be two-way. And our trams will come around as such. And we're going to build the tram in the bus lane because it'll be easier to keep the tram out of traffic. And as you can see, I'm building the tram and I'm cutting straight through this neighborhood. The reason why I want to cut straight through this neighborhood is because I do not want to waste my area of influence out here on this river, which where the tram would not matter. Um, and let's go ahead and finish the tram over here, over here, over here, and we'll go all the way the length of this road. Keep going, and the whole point, obviously, of the tram is to intersect with other lines. We really want the tram to drop people off here, and we want the bus to drop people off at the tram there. So let's go here, and I don't like trams cross. I don't like transit crossing streets. I like transit making right turns because it doesn't mess with traffic. Crossing streets implies that um, you're oh dear Jesus, my train of thought is leaving me. That your specific vehicles have to wait for a light or for traffic. Jeez Louise, man, what is going on? All right, so let's lay down our stops as we did with our station, or lay down our stations as we did with our fucking A. Lay down my stops as I did with my metro, and you can see my metro is doing rather well. This number at the top here is telling me how many trains are in the station. 7, good number. That means that my trains will be serviced and they'll be 100% leaving the station. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. So we're going to overlap, and we're just going to keep overlapping. Here we go. Less talking, more clicking. Click, clickety, click, clickety, click, click, clickety. Alright, so you saw that, right? If I build on this side, obviously the implication is that I'm going to the right. If I build on this side, the implication meaning that I'm going to the left. If I built this here, I wouldn't be able to attach it to my line. It would not know what to do with it. Either way, keep going. Click, clickety, click, clickety, click, click, clickety. And, oh, nope, not on the side of the road. Yeah, stay in the middle. Ah, yes. That overlaps a little close. There we go, overlap there. Okay, so even though my area of influence is actually going to be overlapped by a whole metric fuckton, I'm actually going to put the station here. And the reason why, obviously, is because my metro station is here, and I want my riders to be as close to this station as possible. Now, seeing that this one is rather close to this one, and that's going to be the end of my line, I'm done. Well, I'm done for now, and then I'm going to build my line. So let's close this out because my metro is going to continue to lose money until I connect it to another, or until I overlap it with another line. So let's overlap it now. I'm building. Now, in thinking, hey, I should have built my tram this way. Yes, actually, I thought about that, and you are correct in believing that I should have built my tram coming down here. But building my transit system in a straight line is more advantageous than building my transit system in loops. Unless I'm using a bus. Buses are a lot better, and the reason why is because I can reuse this line. I'm sorry, I can reuse these rails for another line, whereas if I built it all squiggly, reusing the line would not be as easy. Straight lines are best. Trading spaces taught me well. Alright, so because this tram's going to be feeding that subway, I want it to be on the same schedule. Every 30 minutes, every 45 minutes, every 45 minutes. Now you saw what I did? I can pick the line that I want and just click copy from, and it will copy from that line. Click OK, and now I have to buy my trams. Let's buy 10 trams, because it says the max is 10. Sounds about right. Oops. Come on. Alright. Bam. Pick the largest one, Livingstone Classical. By proxy, I don't have DLCs, so I can't cheat. Pick the largest one. Yes, this one has a lower maintenance requirement than this one, but this one's got more seats. Ridership is very importante in this game. Do not mess with your ridership. Now, 1,600 per, I have 33,000, 16,000 is the price. Purchase! And look how many people are here! 22! They were just waiting on me. Look at all these riders. They are happy that I'm picking them up. And the reason why they're happy is because of this freaking train station right here. They want to get on the subway. Think about it. These individuals could, for the most part, work across town, or people across town could work over here. Highly advantageous to pick as many individuals up from this place as possible. Alright, we are doing good. So, let's do a logical, critical thinking idea here. If I build my tram in a horizontal fashion, I should more than likely build my bus in a vertical fashion to keep things keep things copacetic. Uh, Here, hold on a second. All right, that was the wifey, and she wanted me to buy some goddamn ink. All right, so we're back, and accidentally I let the game run. So let's do our critical thinking exercise. And look, our tram's doing so good. Let's also look at our train. Actually, we can look at them both in the economy panel. So the tram's breaking even. My train, my Metro Rail, not so much, but that's okay. So let's get back to our critical thinking exercise. Um, Obviously, my uh, Metro Rail is going to be going in a straight line, and in both directions in a straight line. However, I've already begun to build my trams in horizontal fashion. Reason being that I want it to intersect with my train line as much as possible. So let's postulate here. The tram isn't necessarily going to pick everybody up from all these places, so I would possibly need to build another mode of transportation that goes in a different orientation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build um, my bus lines. So here we go. Obviously, building my bus line here wouldn't be so bad because, not the tram, gosh darn it, bus line. I'm going to build it at the intersection. Because if I built it in the middle of the intersection, they'd have two stoplights to go through rather than just one. And there's no, the road here is kind of all weird, so I'm not thinking at any point in time I'm going to extend my road based on this little state park here. I mean, it'd probably be against the government to do that. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. Plus, this one is actually in direct line alignment with this one. So if I did want to build, I wouldn't use this one, this intersection. Alright, so let's get on with it! Build the bus stop shelter bench. Yeah! And build the other one. Yeah! Alright. So, now let's begin to actually build the line. Looking at what... Okay, so... First and foremost, I know I'm not picking up all these guys out here because my tram doesn't go all the way out there. So, what I probably want to do is find a way to pick those guys up. And I also want to find a way to use this area to my advantage, as well as this perpendicular area to my advantage. So let's do it. Just come in the middle. Now with the buses, you want to overlap a little more than normal because buses, obviously, the area of operation is so much smaller than like the subway and the tram. If you notice, see how in the middle, you can see, oh, ooh, perfect. You can see how you have the small blue circle, the small red, or the slightly larger red circle, which is the tram, and the grotesquely large train circle. So where did I stop? I stopped right there. So let's intersect this line right there. Then I want to continue here, have another intersection here. Actually, I want to think. Oh, yep, I want a bus here. And then I don't, there's nothing here to pick up, so I'm not going to put a bus thing there, but I will start here on the outside, like such. Build one here. Build one here. Now, you see how my bus is like taking this squiggly kind of, not very organized orientation? That's fine, because all I'm really building are the buses and the stops. I don't have to build rail, so I can always change this line if I want to. So let's build our first bus line and see how well it works out. Let's do the stops, starting with the depot. Oh, yes, that's right. I didn't want to go all the way to the top. Now, I'm starting to get a nice little canvas of colors, which is good. You want to keep your color ratios as high as possible. That looks nice. Blues and reds and all this other nice stuff. Alright, cool. So let's go ahead and let's get on with it. I'm actually not really liking the fact that my bus comes all the way down here because my tram already picks all these people up. So I'm going to change it. Yes, this happens. It is what it is. Go away, go away, go away. Alright, and let's destroy those stops. Making sure we don't destroy pieces of the road. Because you can destroy pieces of the road. Not cool. That actually costs money. Mistakes in this game cost money. And destroying stuff doesn't necessarily mean you get the income back. So be wary what you destroy. Alright, there. And, oh, I destroyed this one for no reason. Alright, now let's finish the line. Notice I already have 5 users, or 5 riders there waiting on me. Pretty pissed off, actually. So because this line doesn't necessarily intersect with the subway as much as I want the tram to, I'm going to make this one run every hour. Or every 45 minutes. Weekends, every hour. And nights, every hour and 15 minutes. Okay. And let's buy our buses. Always the largest. I need 6. Okay. We'll buy 7. Purchase. And let's see what happens. Let's look at our line. Oh, we're in that... Oh, there it is. Freaking A, dude. Okay. That bus line should actually do very well. I'm also going to build another bus line that goes like this. Well, actually, I don't think I really want to do that. Because it's overlapping the tram. This is stupid. I will actually build a bus route that goes like this. It'll come around, come down, down, and then come up to this area, like this one does, come back down, and then end over here. That's actually a good idea. Because then I'm picking up all the stragglers from this area. So let's go ahead, put one here. Your bus is going to be the one thing that manipulates itself. Because that is not congruent with itself. And you want that. The bus line is a line that you can just move around due to the fact that there's no... Oh, it's a one-way. Alright, so you see how this is a one-way? I'm sorry. Your bus line, you can just modify because there's no tracks. Here, this is a one-way, so I can't lay... I obviously, you see the orientation of my track is coming up like this, so I need to go to the next one. Not liking it too much, because even though it does cover a bigger AO, it's just an area of operation, area of influence. It doesn't necessarily mean that the AO is... the people in the AO are going to ride. So that's not in... I'm not a fan of that, but... c'est la vie, right? Alright, so here we go. Overlapping like I don't like, but once again, it is what it is. I foresee really bad traffic happening right here, but hopefully I can keep that to a minimum. Come around, come down, up, in. Then I want to change my... Ooh, that's not it, is it? Nope. You're not the right thing. I want to change my timetable to meet my... I'm sorry, no. Change my timetable of line 2 to meet the timetable of my bus line 1. Copy from, click weekend, copy from, click night, copy from, okay. And then what I want to do is I want to buy buses, because right now the buses are sharing and that's not good. Ooh, I need to take out another loan. So let's go ahead and do that. That's not bad. It's good. So take out another loan. Bam. Obviously still 20 weeks. And now let's buy our buses. I need 6 more buses. So I'll buy 7. Bam. Dance, my pretties. Alright. So far, so good. Alright. And there it is. As you can see, my tram is already broken even and is generating income. My buses are not very far from doing the same thing. My subways are slowly making their way to their cash flow neutral statement, which is good as well. And everything is coming up Millhouse. So I think I'm gonna stop here. In my next Let's Play, I will go a little deeper into. I'll probably have more built here, and then I'll show you how to go from one side to another. What's the best solutions? Yada yada yada, so on and so forth. All right. Well, this was a fun Let's Play. Oh look, the bus already broke even, and my OCD won't let me have this out here. It's gonna bother me. Okay. Yay, the bus lines broke even. That's actually hard to do first dash out the box. Normally it takes a long time for your buses to break even, but because we are picking up individuals who are being left behind by the tram, it works out. So, and obviously you see there's 27 riders of the bus going in the opposite direction as the tram. That's also really nice. Because my tram's not going to the right, it's going to the left, it's bringing people to my my train stop, whereas my bus is taking individuals away from it. So they're both kind of working in tandem with one another. Really nice. But you can see how this overlap here is very highly advantageous. Very important. And I think both my bus lines are profitable.